there's so much I could say. Hey everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review of album number 7 by rapper Kanye West. It's called The Life of Pablo, and this might not even be the final version of the album. If there is a major revision to this record, expect a part 2 update to this review. I'm going to go ahead and drop this now because it's been streaming on TIDAL since early February 14th, and I've been listening to it throughout the week. And I definitely do have some strong opinions and some things that I want to say. I thought about scripting this out, but I decided to really just let it flow because that's pretty much what Kanye West does on this record. You've seen his Twitter feed. Remember back when he only tweeted like once or twice a year? Yeah. I'm starting to miss those days. I've been a pretty big fan of Kanye West over the years, from My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy to The College Dropout, Late Registration, even the album with Jay-Z, Watch the Throne. I've liked pretty much everything, even Yeezus, the one that seemed to get shit on by so many people. I like the fact that it went for a more abrasive and raw feel, and it wasn't for everyone, I get that, but still, at this point, I didn't think that Kanye had a bad album in his discography. Well, with The Life of Pablo, I'm thinking twice. There's so many things that I like about this record, but at the same time, it's such a frustrating listen because there's so many bad moments that stack up as well. And I think the problem is Kanye himself. A lot of the time, the lack of Kanye himself. I like the production. That's one thing that immediately stood out to me. There's so many well-produced tracks here. From the modern-leaning Waves, which is included last minute thanks to Chance the Rapper, to the gospel-orchestrated opening track, Ultralight Beam. I love Chance the Rapper on that track. And just the additional vocals from like the likes of Kirk Franklin. Totally unexpected, but it works. Yeezy talking about this being a gospel album. I see it here. A lot of different album changes, a lot of different titles. So Help Me God was one of them, and that's what made me think that, hey, maybe he's not lying here. But that changed to Waves and Swoosh, and then finally TIDAL, The Life of Pablo. And here I sit with such mixed feelings. I'm right there on the fence because the first half of this record is so fucking messy. It's so spotty, and there's so much fat that I would trim off of the edges. There's tracks that don't belong here and just don't need to be on an album. Instantly, I would completely terminate and remove the tracks Lowlights, which is nothing but 2 minutes of a woman talking, which is totally unnecessary. And of course, Freestyle 4 as well, which is just Kanye rambling about having sex in public and all these manic thoughts that are popping into his head, and it's like a tweet out loud. It's what a lot of this album actually feels like. It's like one thought to the next. If you follow him on Twitter, you see him jumping around daily, and I just feel like so much of this record plays to that mindset, and I think that a lot of people are getting the wrong idea and praising him for that. Jumble doesn't necessarily mean good, and once again, another track that I would eliminate right towards the end of this thing, Silver Surfer Intermission. It just doesn't belong here. There's so much flow that's going on. In fact, I think the album gets on a great stride, starting with track number 10, Waves. And that's with Chris Brown even. I don't like Chris Brown, but he works on this track. I love the beat here. It really just rides. Some trap-leaning production works its way in there. It's immediately catchy to the ear, and then that bursts right into FML, a very raw tune that does a great job of painting a picture. He does that with The Weeknd, and it's a fantastic and dark tune that I was waiting for from Yeezy. That carries over once again into probably the best song, if not the second to best song, Real Friends. A very, very forward-thinking track that definitely caters to older Kanye fans, more raw, honest, get to the point Kanye, which I love. But then we get a track that pops up in there right after Wolves, and that's the Intermission featuring Max B, and it sounds like a voicemail that was just included for no real reason at all other than the fact that hey, let's fill some time and almost make this album an hour. I did skip over the track Wolves there just a second ago, and that's a track that I've really come around on. At first, I found it to be very off-putting with the way the female vocals were pitched up and down and kind of worked in as the beat of the song, but I find myself losing myself in it, and I think it's fantastic. Apparently, Kanye's still tinkering with that, and that's why I didn't initially mention it, but I decided I did want to talk about. I'm not exactly sure what he's planning to change, but it's actually turned into one of my favorite songs on The Life of Pablo. I love the outro on this thing. Frank Ocean came out of whatever cave he's been hiding in for the longest time and hasn't been putting out that damn album that we've been waiting on forever. Boys do cry. It's your fans. I'm one of them. Put it out, Frank. The track originally featured Sia Furler and Vic Mensa whenever it premiered early last year at the Victoria's Secret fashion show. They were both removed from the final version in favor of a new female vocalist along with Frank Ocean and of course Kanye himself. And then we get that damn Silver Surfer intermission. Just clear that out, please. We get into 30 hours, and I'm loving the bumping synth line on that. It's getting me back into this record. It's got me hooked again. But then we hear Kanye ramble for a couple of minutes once again, and it just loses focus. It's like me sitting here doing this, playing with the focus of my camera all day, and I can't make up my fucking mind. I hope we can all agree that No More Parties in LA is just absolutely phenomenal. Kendrick and Kanye trading fire verses on this thing. Kanye comes in, starts it off. Kendrick goes in hard for several minutes. And then Kanye comes in and spits probably his best bars on the entire record. I like hearing him open up. This is Kanye opening up. This and even Real Friends, there's lines on here that relate to each other, especially talking about the cousin or friend that stole his laptop, and he references once again on No More Parties in LA. Some shots are being fired here and there throughout this track, but it definitely doesn't feel like a diss song. However, the one that comes right after it, the Charlie Heat version of Facts, a track that we originally got about a month ago, just, why was this included on the final track listing? I could narrow this thing down. I was excited whenever he cut this down to 10 tracks. Facts wasn't on there. I was upset that No More Parties in LA wasn't there, but hey, if we could omit a few things and I could still have No More Parties in LA as just a single I could listen to on the side, I'd probably take it at this point. Facts seems like an upset little boy going off on somebody that didn't let him into their club. So, hey, I went over here and joined the Adidas club instead. I've got my own clothing line. I'm a fashion star. Also, my album's only on TIDAL. Anyways, there's a few other songs on this thing that I thought were pretty good. Right in the middle of this thing, we've got Feedback, a nice little 2.5 minute track, a solid little electronic groove going on, and Kanye going hard on the track. Probably one of his better flows. Once again, I'm seeing him getting into that Kanye mode that we like. And I know that you could argue the whole I love Kanye track perspective, like, you know, you don't want this Kanye, you want this Kanye. I don't know exactly what I want from Kanye, but there's so many things on here that I know that I don't want more of. Father Stretch My Hands Part 1 being one of those. Just, you know, you've done auto-tune in the past and it's worked for you. This is not one of those moments that goes over so well. Part 2 fares a whole lot better, and even the track Famous, that makes a little bit of use of that, especially when you team up with Rihanna there, sounds good. Talk about overkill though. Part 1, Father Stretch My Hands, is just a no, and his lyrics on that track are just terrible. He's talking about, you know, sleeping with this model that just bleached her asshole, and maybe he's gonna get some on his shirt, and that's gonna make him one too. Fade closes out this record, and I have to say it's another one that I absolutely just detest. This song is scum, bottom of the barrel shit. You know, teaming up with Post Malone, is that ever a good idea? Ty Dolla $ign, I could take or leave. He did a great job, I thought, on Real Friends, adding some additional vocals there, adding a little bit of something else to round out the track. But here, nobody is really offering anything. In fact, the sample pretty much just rides over anything that I could really dig into on the track. And this is a very sample-heavy record. I don't think that it necessarily kills things on the majority of these tracks. I thought some of them were very well done and tasteful, but it's just, once again, overkill, for lack of a better word, on Fade in several of these other tracks. I'm so mixed on this album because, like I said, it's a chaotic mess, and I don't think that it's a beautiful mess that comes together to make something fantastic. I think it's something that you could pick songs off of and just come back to them from time to time, and maybe some of them will stick with you, some of them won't. Me personally, I can't go any higher than a 3 out of 5 for the new Kanye record. I know you guys have heard The Life of Pablo. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments section down below. I'm sorry if I felt a little bit disoriented or jumbled on this review. It's just because it was a very frustrating album for me. Very all over the place. I know you guys probably have mixed feelings as well. So, you know, be like Kanye and let me know your feedback in the comment section down below. But like Kanye said, all feedback must be positive. Nothing but love. I put nothing but love into this review, so I expect nothing but love in return, even if I am a white publication. Thanks for watching, hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, because friends don't let friends go unsubscribed. I will see you guys very soon, right here on ARTV.